I was celebrating my 21st birthday with some friends, which is usually conventionally known as something that, you go out, you have a lot of drinks, it's just usually a very fun time, and it ended up being, honestly, pretty much like the worst day of my life. I remember making it to the bar, and after that, it's really difficult and really hazy. But I remember some man, a guy, approaching me. The next thing I remember is just him grabbing me and taking me down the stairs from the 3rd floor. And as I was walking, I think it was so noticeable that another person intervened and said, "Hey, are you good?" And all I remember is saying, "I need to find my friends." And he looked at the guy I was with and said, "Oh, is that your friend?" And then he looked at me and he said, "It looks like you're gonna have a really good time tonight." And then this guy just dragged me, and the next thing I really remember is just him asking me if I was on birth control on the pill, and I remember saying, "We had sex."
For years, the university had been using a sexual misconduct board within the Office of the Dean of Students to evaluate student-on-student reports of sexual misconduct. Under the university's policies, students could pursue a hearing in front of the Sexual Misconduct Board or make an informal complaint and sit down with the alleged assailant and a mediating administrator. The Office of Civil Rights found these policies to be ineffective, with UVA failing to resolve various formal and informal reports in a prompt and equitable manner. In July 2015, the university revised its policies to comply with Title IX, a law that prohibits discrimination on the basis of sex at educational institutions that receive federal funding. By September, the new policies were fully compliant with the law and allowed for the creation of a standalone Title IX office.
This part is key because before the changes, reports were handled by the Office of the Dean of Students.
Now, any reports of sexual misconduct go to the Title IX office, where an independent staff decides how to handle the case. Here's how the new process works. UVA's policy on sexual and gender-based harassment and other forms of interpersonal violence prohibits sexual assault, sexual exploitation, interpersonal violence, and stalking. If you were assaulted, you can get a Physical Evidence Recovery Kit, or PERK, regardless of whether you report the assault. If you decide not to report, you can confide in confidential resources like CAPS, the Women's Center, Student Health, and the UVA Hospital, or various community partners like Sarah or Shay. If you do want to report, you can make a report with your name, or you can submit an anonymous complaint by calling the Title IX office, or reporting it through a university tool called Just Report It. But you have to be careful.
If you report a sexual assault through the Just Report It tool, the university has to open your case, even if you reported it anonymously.
The university denied our request for an on-camera interview, but they did tell us that for cases like sexual assault, Title IX investigators will promptly initiate formal resolution. However, where the complainant requests anonymity, that an investigation not be pursued, or that no disciplinary action be taken, the university's evaluation panel will try to honor those preferences if the health and safety of the complainant and the UVA community can be protected in the process. In other words, if you want to report but don't want to go forward with an investigation, the Title IX team will do its best to honor your request. But under certain circumstances, the university may have to move forward with an investigation. For instance, if the allegation involves an act of physical violence, drugs, threats of future violence, or other existing complaints against the perpetrator, the evaluation panel must initiate the formal investigation. Until 2015, there was no Title IX office to actually investigate the case, and sexual assault reports could be handled informally or formally. Now, the only option is the formal process.
started dating in about July, I think, 2014. And then we continued dating for about 5 or 6 months, then broke up in December. And then that's when things started to escalate, and he started like calling me multiple times a day, sometimes upwards of like 50 times a day, emailing me, emailing my friends, emailing like my ex-boyfriends to get information about me. There were a few times where he threatened to commit suicide and things like that. And so he kind of called me one day and he was like, hey, this is the last time I'll call you, but I really am like feeling depressed today and I'm thinking about suicide again, and but I promise this is the last time and I won't ever speak to you again if you come over now. And so I was like, I'm just gonna sit and like do my homework and make sure that you don't do anything to harm yourself. That's when the sexual assault occurred. So I tried to leave and he prevented me from leaving. And then immediately afterward, he said, I think I just raped you. And so I didn't really say anything, I just left.
For criminal prosecution, the standard of evidence used is higher than it is for a Title IX investigation. That means that if you choose to go through both the university and the criminal justice system, your assailant could be expelled or suspended, but not put in prison.
The university and the criminal prosecution are completely separate, and a survivor can pursue one or both options at any time. But it's important to note that it's harder to prove an assault in court than it is to prove to the university. This is because the university's standard of proof is a preponderance of the evidence, meaning that the respondent only has to be found more than likely to have committed the assault, while criminal prosecutions require the defendant to be found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. According to the Office of the Commonwealth's Attorney for Charlottesville, what the numbers don't show is that some survivors do not want to move forward with a criminal investigation, and many of their reports are simply 911 calls or third-party accounts with no further action requested.
Do you think that the changes helped your case in the end, or no?
Yeah, I think so. I think it also made it, from what I had heard, the process was like before. I think it made it easier on me, even though it still was really bad. If you feel like it's in your power to report, I think definitely do, because it can help your life so much. At the time, it felt like nothing could probably be done, and I was just really shocked at how much they wanted to help me. You know, I haven't talked to him in years now, and I just never thought that that would happen.